Good afternoon, YouTube. I am Shaggy Philalitea. I am in the private room in the library that I don't like as much, so that's why all of today's videos have that keen. There's an exposed air conditioner in here. It's whatever. Things that are outside my control are outside my control, and as Philalitea, it is my religious responsibility to represent and demonstrate for you not dwelling or sweating in the small stuff, right? Not dwelling on what's outside my control and not sweating over the small stuff. In fact, I've been trying to teach you about not sweating in general. So this is a homelessness vlog. So today is day 32. I'm 8 days away from my 40. That's great. I'm looking forward to 40 more, maybe 40 more after that, and maybe 40 more after that. And I'll just start counting it in 40s, maybe. I've been getting a lot of pushback. I made a video that I don't think you guys realize is a joke called For Just $1 a Day. I was making fun of those. For just $1 a day, you could feed an African child videos. And it's funny how much I did it. I did it to demonstrate how much pent-up rage people have about the actual obligation they have to support their community. And it's funny because two people have been like, well, get a job and you won't be homeless and you won't have to ask for $1 a day so you can buy things. And I'm like, okay, do you really know what you're talking about when you suggest to somebody, well, get a job? Did you just get the job that you have? And if you did, should you be allowed to keep it? Should you really? Strangers sharing their self-loathing with me like I should participate in it is becoming funny to me. And as soon as I can figure out how to get YouTube to let me make commenting on comments shorts that aren't the 2 recommended, if it would just let me click on my comments and then make a short with that comment up on it, we could really start to have some fun. Also, if you watch these, can you tell me in the comments if you know how shorts work? Can you explain to me, not shorts, well, shorts, yeah, creating videos in the YouTube app. Can you explain to me how to make custom stickers? Can I make custom stickers? Can I add? I could Google all of this. I'm getting naked. Sorry, but I'm not more sorry. My arm itches. Pretty bad, actually. I didn't notice until right now. That means that I've been sweating and that it needs to be exposed to the air, and that tonight I'm gonna have to shower a little better than I did yesterday. Well, shower is not what I do. I'm gonna have to bathe a little bit better than I did yesterday, but I bought more body wipes. But can you show me how to edit video or how to edit images into shorts that I create here on YouTube? I could go the hard way, I could go the long way, and I could use my AZ screen recorder to do it, but my hands are just big enough that trying to do that on my touchscreen on my phone is just annoying enough. But I've got a stylus for that. I can get around it. I can make it work. And that's today's lesson. Today's lesson is making it work. And today's shout out, call to action, today's, give me some fucking rope here. Like, cut me some slack, right? Work with me here a little bit. Just a little bit is all I'm asking for. I'm really not asking for money. That was a joke. I adore you. I adore humans. I do. You're doomed, but I adore you. Today's lesson is to make the best with what you've got. And that's what I've been trying to show you. I'm ahead of myself on my John readings. Those are going to go up Sunday morning at 6. All of my videos in the future are going to go up at 6. I'm scheduling those to go up at 6, and I believe I've got Mondays blocked for Final Fantasy 1 and Tuesdays blocked for Final Fantasy 3 and Wednesdays blocked for Final Fantasy Tactics on the Talking to the Future channel that none of you is subscribed to yet. That's okay. Those are getting views on their own, actually, without subs, and people are actually diving in pretty deep into when I play Hearthstone. So Hearthstone is going to be what I make and post, just as I make it and post it, because people, I like that. I'm encouraged. I'm telling you that I'm encouraged. Today is a day of encouragement. That I'm feeling encouraged. You know, people are actively trying to discourage me, and I'm telling you that in homelessness and in joblessness, I have found a way not to self-start, but to find the kind of encouragement that keeps me moving in a way that the corporate environment will refuse me. I laugh and joke with the women and girls mostly. The men are weird and standoffish, but men have opinions about people like us, and frankly, the women who share opinions about people like us got them from their dads, and they think they're honoring their father's memory by being a hateful cunt, and that's fine. That's fine. Your hate doesn't actually slow me down. I have the ability to just remove comments so no one can ever see them again. I don't know if you realize that, but it's very easy to say something that's not within the community guidelines to you, so that you get the notification that I've said something not within the community guidelines to you, and then delete both your comment and mine, so that you heard me tell you to really go fuck yourself. But nobody else needs to know that I told you that, and nobody else needs to know that you told me what deserved being told to go fuck yourself. Even Twitter doesn't need to know. I'm sorry, even YouTube doesn't need to know. I said even Twitter because I learned that from Twitter. What you do on Twitter is you tell somebody something just appalling, that you should absolutely get blocked for. Not blocked, reported and removed. Actually, that you should be publicly executed for. But you'll say that, and then you block them, so they can't retaliate, and so they can't prove you said it, because all they got was a notification of it, and then it sits there in your notifications. And so if you're a small channel and you're not getting a lot of movement, yeah, it just sits there, and you have to read it and read it and read it and read it. And now sometimes you can mute or block back, but the point is, if you want to get toxic with me, I can play that game. Just as an upright person, I don't have any reason not to tell you to fuck yourself. You understand that? But let's actually do the thought experiment. Or maybe I'll make a short about it, but let's actually do the thought experiment. If everyone who made shorts on YouTube, not long form, we'll get to we can do this with long form, but if everyone who made shorts on YouTube did so with a job that paid them adequately, that they could fulfill their needs, who do you think would be on YouTube? If YouTube didn't monetize, if they didn't pay you, who do you think would do it? Who do you think would do it? I don't think anybody would do it. I legitimately don't think anybody would do it. I don't think anybody gets on here like me and says, no, we're going to keep the channel as small as possible for as long as possible. I'm going to be as standoffish and as aloof and as unvisually appealing as I can get away with for as long as possible, because I don't want what I got today. I don't want those people to be like, oh, well, I'm visually stimulated XYZ, but I'm going to say hateful shit about his being homeless, or about his being unemployed, or about his being him. That's just not going to happen. I'm not inviting you into my life to talk shit to me and think you're going to get away with it. I'm inviting you into my life to have an actual dialogue across time, because I'm speaking now. You'll find this in the future. You'll dialogue back into the future, and then any time I respond to that is in your future. It will not be a moment-to-moment present dialogue in the comments or in my DMs if you get on and you subscribe to my Patreon, or if you incentivize me to get Discord, or Twitter totally fucks my I'm at 0, and when people actually follow me, it unfollows. It's very strange. And I don't care. Fuck that whole app. Fuck everybody who's a habitual user of that app, for that matter. I'm in a good place. As far as homelessness, I've begun sleeping like a baby, fitfully, because I'm trying not to smoke so much. I'm trying not to get stoned. I don't have as much pain, and so I don't, other than liking it, I don't need it. And so I'm not getting stoned to go to bed anymore. I'm not like getting stoned and then falling asleep on my face because I'm so stoned I passed out. That's just not happening. Frankly, that hasn't happened in a long time, but that's not happening now. So I'm dreaming a lot more. So if I were to do like a homelessness vlog about like my sleep, so if I were to do nights as well every day, do a night, like when I wake up at 2 a.m. like I did this morning, I could do like a homelessness vlog night, whatever, but I don't want to do that. Not all of my nights are eventful. Frankly, not all of my days are eventful. Yesterday wasn't eventful until after I got home, and then it wasn't remarkable. I talked politics. Well, I listened to people talk politics on the bus and had a conversation with someone on the bus about politics, and they're not understanding. They're not understanding why it's so difficult to just ask somebody to have their ID in order to vote. You have to have your ID in order to go to the BMV. You have to have your ID in order to do anything. Frankly, even to be homeless, I have to have an ID. So why don't you have an ID? Why don't you have identification? Why can't you prove you are who you are? It's 2024. It's not the 1960s anymore. Anybody who's trying to be off the grid to that degree is a criminal. So anyway, I've been dreaming. And it must be windy. It's either windy or I have an animal that's trying to get into my tent at night. Because I've been waking up to this scritch, 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 scritch sound, but then not hearing it when I wake up, but then dreaming that animals are in my tent. Like I had a dream last night that a big old, like a giant fox had actually folded my tent over on itself in an effort to get in. And then I'm having these, sleep paralysis dreams where I'm like trying to, I can't get my arms and legs to move because I'm 3/4 conscious, right? And so I guess there are two things. I make the girls and women at Christ's table laugh. That makes me feel good. Like today they were serving sloppy joes, and Thursday is when they let the girls who are, it's hard to tell now, but somewhere between the ages of 16 and 22, they let them serve on the line. I don't know. Just Thursdays there are girls that age, and they're usually serving on the line. I told you a story about how they were doing interviews with the older people at all the tables, and so anyway, I woke up and I can see them watching me, and I can see them looking for the smile now because I'm always smiling, and so they're looking for eye contact. They're looking to be noticed because they're young, and that's not a customer service gig. There should be more thank yous. There should be more pleases. There should be significantly more respect of the people back on that side of the aisle, right on that side of the counter. And so I walk up, and the poor bread girl isn't doing bread today because they're doing sloppy joe sandwiches. So all she can really do is say hi and then pass your tray over. And so she's bored out of her fucking skull because, of course, they also put the plain girl there. So she's not even the one who, in her boredom, is attractive enough to the other girls that they just want to make small talk with her. So she's just standing there being bored. So I smile at her and I say hey, and I ask her how she's doing, and go to the next girl, and she goes, "Sloppy Joe?" And I said, "What'd you call me?" I actually said, "Yes, please." And then I said, "Wait a minute, what'd you call me?" And she goes, "Sloppy Joe?" And I said, "No, that's my dad." And she goes, "Oh, really?" I said, "No." And the girl beside her actually grabbed her belly because she thought that was so funny. And it's fun to actually do granddad jokes. Dad jokes are all the rage, but granddad jokes are where it's fucking at. And so I got a good laugh about that. And then thank you, please, thank you, have a good day, thank you, yeah, you too, yeah, thank you. And then get to the dessert line, and they've got like this strawberry cake thing, and I was like, ooh, give me that. And she goes, do you mind if I put it here beside your sandwich? And I said, I don't care. You put it wherever the hell you want. And she goes, just jam it in there wherever it fits. And I said, yeah, that's what she said. I'm sorry I said that out loud, that this is an inappropriate place to do that. And the girl beside her is in the same situation. She didn't have anything to fucking do. She's just standing there. And so she gets a big laugh, and then the other girl gets a big laugh. And then I walk away feeling like a winner because 2 people laughed at my stupid jokes. Stupid canned jokes. Literally, I have been making that joke, the Sloppy Joe joke, I have been making that joke since fucking 6th grade. It's a cafeteria women. They come in, they Sloppy Joe's today? I'm like, oh, that's not me. It's my dad. And they because the Mr., right? Oh, Mr. Dennis, nah, I'm Vincent, that's Mr. Dennis is my dad, right? That's I love that joke, and so I got to use all my canned jokes. And then the other thing that's happening is I call her the singer because there's a girl there who's a singer and she makes music and puts it on YouTube, and good for her. And she's getting a lot of attention from the guys there, but I don't know if she's old enough, and I don't know if she cares that the attention she's getting isn't about her music. She's got a great pair of legs, frankly, and she's young. I think she's only at 22, 23. Her face is young. She looks young enough to be chasing this dream, even though she's in the situation where she's eating at a soup kitchen. She didn't eat today, and she's making me super anxious. She's tripping me the fuck out because I've noticed her and the other girl who comes in there, who has a fucking boyfriend, either my age or younger, have started hanging out where I'm going to have to walk past them in order to get there. And I don't know if it's a coincidence. It's never a coincidence with girls with this kind of stuff. But when I'm walking and I'm alone, I am fucking rocking the fuck out. I'm listening to fast tempo, heavy music. Usually dudes just losing their minds, yelling, screaming. You know, Metallica is what I've been listening to a lot of lately. Old Metallica. But 72 Seasons is good. 72 Seasons is actually very good. I didn't like the last 2 as much. They get repetitive as shit. What is it called? Hardwired to Self-Destruct and Death Magnetic. They get really repetitive. But 72 Seasons is really good. Their producer did a really good job of keeping James from writing the same riff in every song, which is problematic with their last 4. The 3 before that, Saint Anger, and then the 2 to follow. Point is, what I don't want to do is talk to a girl. Just what I'm not trying to do is embarrass myself in front of a girl, but I don't actually know how far my voice is audible because I'm singing along usually. And I'm trying to actually keep my voice down. I could be a lot louder than what I am if I wanted to be. And that might be what, especially the singer, that might be what draws her attention, is that I'm singing, I'm listening to music. I actually know a little bit about music. I actually care a little bit about music. And that might, in its own right, make me just interesting as a human being, not even as a sex partner. And that stuff, people take real human beings in my actual environment taking an interest in me trips me out. It makes me deeply uncomfortable because how the fuck am I going to explain this? Now, I've done it recently, and I told you that story in God Works in Mysterious Ways. And so I understand that on some level this is God working in his way to put me in the path of a female. Because every man, see, this is, and it's probably not God is the thing. That's why I'm not reacting to it. It's probably the goddess. Because what the demiurge, and also known as the Yaldabaoth, also known as the creator. So the creator, before he ascended to all mind, before he ascended past all mind to the source, right, was once married to the goddess. Okay? And so she administrated everything. She administrated everything. And the way the way life worked was that she was a matchmaker. She rewarded piety also known as damn it, I did it again. I can never remember this word. It's the word that Job's wife uses to him, his relationship to God, and I can just never remember it. I always want to say fidelity, but it's not fidelity. It's an I word, and I think it's actually got an I and F in it, is why I get stuck. But it's not fidelity, because it's not a fide that he has to God. It's frustrating, because now I don't remember what I was talking about at all. And so, anyway, today, I'll just tell the story from today, because it's been a saga. It's been, whatever, the last 3 or 4 days. I think I've told that story. And males aren't going to like this story. Dudes don't care. But the potential women who watch this will care. And then young people really need to understand that human beings do still care about this stuff. We act like we don't, or we act like we've all got it all figured out. But you point to the millennial or the person in Gen X who's got their marriage on lock, and you're talking to a liar. So anyway, the thing happened today. So I'm listening to a heavy, fast song. I'm playing air guitar, jamming, headbanging, whatever. And I walk, and naturally, as I get to the spot where they always make me walk across their path, so I have to give them the eye contact to acknowledge they're there, and I have to smile at them because I smile at everyone. Walk past the spot where they are, and I'm like, oh, good, she's not there. There's a shorter brunette with curly hair who is usually wearing camo pants that are not sized appropriately because she's gotten big since she bought those pants. Well, at least gotten big in the pants since she bought those pants. And then the singer, and so I'm walking, and she, of course, comes around the building because I'm singing. I'm thinking, good, nobody's out here today. No, she comes around because she wants to sing it, so I gotta stop, or see it, so I gotta stop, because I think that's rude to not acknowledge that there are people around you and they may or may not want to hear your music. And for the most part, I think that people are curious what it is I'm listening to that makes me do that and want to see, because I used to march. I've told this story. So my legs don't struggle, and sometimes actually I high step. My feet find the tempo. They find a para-rhythm with what's going on in the drums. You listen to the drums, you find the para-rhythm of what's going on in the drums. A para-rhythm is not necessarily the same rhythm, but a rhythm that lines up with it in a way that you don't notice that they're not. You can notice that they're not the same. So like a para-rhythm is like if you're counting 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 on your hand, on this hand, and you go, I'm not good at this, but you go 1, 4, or 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. And so this is in 4, doing 1 and 3, half notes in 4, and this was in 3, 4, counting threes, or it was doing triplets or whatever. I don't know how the math works. I don't understand all of that. But that's what a para-rhythm is. So you find the 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 in the music, and sometimes it's almost a 1, 2, 3. Like sometimes you have to take longer steps or shorter steps or higher steps. You have to, whatever. You find it and you just, for me, it's you just go with it. And then that frees up my hands and my head. So of course I'm headbanging, and I'm when I'm singing, I hold my hands down because I can't think about and focus on both things, and I don't actually know the lyrics well enough. So if I'm going to sing out loud, what I'm doing is practicing the lyrics more than practicing the mouth and throat shape. Point being, stop singing. I get past her. I put my hands still, and actually I'm still doing this. Because I played a little bit of bass. And so I like to listen to songs that I knew how to play because I no longer have my bass. And tell me in the comments if you know the rules. I don't really understand the rules of music stores, and so I don't want to go in there and spend an hour fucking around on their bass just to stay. I miss the strings. Just to stay in contact with an instrument. I also know that's how a lot of people get in bands. And so maybe there's just I don't know. I don't know the rules. Tell me the rules. Am I allowed to just hang out there? I don't know. I'm a quiet guy. I don't want to be talked to, and I by the sales guys, and I don't want to waste their time because I have no money, and I couldn't protect a base anyway. That's why I sold mine. And so of course, as I pass her and I'm in what I think I'm in the clear, the free to start singing, or at least start humming again, fucking the singer comes walking around, and then so I have to smile and nod at her, and then because I wasn't stopping at Christ's Kitchen today, I actually went up to Eastside Ministries because I wanted to tell the lady that let me take all that stuff for free, thank you, see if she remembered me. And I knew the other lady wouldn't. She was busy and she didn't, and that's fine. But they actually let me take an extra shirt, and I'm glad I did. So I got 2 new hoodies, both of them wool, and I got 2 pairs of wool socks, and I got a Steelers t-shirt. So I'm excited about that, actually. I could be able to get out of this, and I can... Simon, I love you, buddy. This shirt is Simon's Are You a Man shirt, so he's wearing his, so he's his anime version from 7 Days to Die with his tool belt and holding his sandwich, and that in the Japanese is supposed to say, I don't know that it does, I can't confirm, but it's supposed to say, Are you a man? And so I wanted to wear my Are You a Man, challenging me to be a man shirt while I was homeless. I'm proud that I did. I'm proud of this shirt. I'm proud to own it. I'm proud that I've kept it. I love the Neeps guys. They've taught me so much about how to be a man. And it's funny that there's always synchronicities in my watch, but their stuff has been really synchronous with my life lately. They did another church video while I was the week that I was enjoying church the most. So it's just cool. It's cool, the parallels. They don't mean anything. They mean what I want them to mean. They don't mean anything to you. And they shouldn't mean anything to you. They really shouldn't. Most of this won't mean anything to you. Most of these are about you finding your meaning. I'm trying to teach you how to find meaning in what I'm saying and see how what I'm saying stacks up with what you think and what you believe and what you want for your life. And yeah, somebody said something to me that I don't know that I can fully, perfectly articulate, but it's not just that I'm trying to find my own way, and it's not just that I'm trying to do it my own way. It's not just that. But I haven't figured out what it is beyond that. And so anyway, I go to Eastside and I get my stuff, and I'm coming back with my backpack, and of course I'm singing, and now I'm early. And fuck, man, it was only like 9:30. That place opens at 11. For lunch, it opens at 11. So I did not expect to see either of them there. I didn't expect to see anybody there. And so anyway, it's like 10 after 10 when I come sauntering up, and nobody's in the parking lot to the side of the building. So I'm thinking, fucking A, I could just hang out here and sing for 15 or 20 minutes. And of course, she wants to watch me sing an Opeth. And so I'm... And she's just standing there watching me, and I have to pretend like I don't notice, because I wanted to put my phone down. I wanted to put my phone in my pocket, and I did. I put the song that I wanted to listen to on, something by Opeth, where he goes back and forth between clean and harsh vocals, because I like the practice. It's not easy. It's a lot more difficult, actually, than you think it is, to go from clean to distorted vocals, and then the harsh vocals underneath the distortion, or in addition to distortion. It's hard to turn it on and off. And so that's what I'm doing, is I'm practicing. I'm just practicing. It doesn't matter. I use it in my voice acting more than I use it to sing. I have way too much performance anxiety to get up on stage. I would need to know that the dudes behind me or accompanying me are all the way in on me making mistakes, and me just having fun with it sometimes, because there are going to be times where if you watch my singing videos, sometimes I just sing goofy because I can't fucking help it. When people look at me, I just start acting goofy. Like, stop fucking looking at me. And I get nervous and I just act goofy because then I notice, and so I'm trying not to notice, and so I'm becoming aware of my behavior, and so I just want to amuse myself when I become aware of my behavior. And so that's what she did. She just stands there, and so she's standing there right in my periphery, so I'd have to turn and acknowledge that she's fucking watching me, trying not to be noticed, because what I don't want is for her to come up and be like, oh, do you want to do a duet? No, I don't. No, I don't. It's maybe it's selfish, and maybe this is why this is coming up in my life. It's like I just don't want to get involved in her YouTube. I get involved in people's lives. People want me to be involved in their life. And so what I don't want to do is I just don't want to spend time watching her videos because I don't know her and I don't want to know her, and I don't want to make... That's girlfriend stuff. You do that for your girlfriend, and I don't want a girlfriend. Maybe I do want a girlfriend. Maybe I lack a girlfriend and I don't know it. And the issue is that I'm trying to be an individual. And when you're girlfriended, when you're a boyfriend and you're me, your life and your dreams are secondary. It's very much about making sure that her dreams are taken care of. And I am trying to fucking have my dreams. And I've already said that if I'm going to be me and I'm going to end up getting involved in a female's life, it's going to be as a proselytizer of the way, and that means I can't touch her at all. I can't even want to look upon her body. And it's not even that I like to look upon her body, because that's not what it's about. I like to people watch. I like to observe. And if she wants to get involved in my life, then I'm no longer an observer. I'm an active participant. And then now we're not talking about science and curiosity, and now there's an effect that I'm a cause of in her, and then emotions get involved. And what if I get jealous that she doesn't know that I'm the cause of that effect and she doesn't attribute it to me, and then I get all mad, and I'm just putting myself back into the same place that I always put myself. And so there is a standoffishness. I live in a tent, and there's no shame in that, but I'm not trying to invite her there. Because if I start inviting people there, I start taking people back there, I'm obviously living there. I'm drawing attention to myself. And I've always been just trying not to draw attention to myself. And I get it. Walking around a small town, playing music, jamming, singing, draws attention. But that's as much attention as I want from my immediate surroundings. This is where I'm trying to put all my attention-seeking behaviors. You understand? Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't compartmentalize in that way. And maybe I'm doing it wrong. I have realized in talking to you and then speaking with people who are similar to me but more normalized, because they have more contact with normalized people, is that I'm a decidedly strange person. I came out very weird. I had very weird ideas. But that's what happens when you have to teach yourself. You come to idiosyncratic conclusions about what everything means. And then when you don't suffer, but when other people around you suffer from your pathological demand avoidance, a lot of the conclusions that I came to were in opposition of people. I would go, well, I'm not going to be that. I'm not going to do that. But a lot of them work out for me. I'm not saying that I'm a failure. And that's the thing I don't think people understand, is that I don't feel like a failure. I'm fucking winning. I have another loaf of bread. I got an extra sloppy Joe sandwich. I got some sweets, and a former Patreon subscriber tossed me $20. So it's not like I'm fucking struggling. I'm warm. I'm comfortable. My stuff doesn't stink. My body doesn't stink. I itch a little bit because I didn't bathe last night. I could have. But sorry, my sister just texted me some of the dumbest shit I've ever read. People just... Here, this is what it's about. If I meditate tonight and do a video game while I'm waiting on her after I hang out with Madge, what it's going to be about is despair and sorrow from a Abrahamic context, a biblical context. I don't give a shit what Islam has to say about despair or sorrow. I just don't fucking care what Islam has to say about anything, to be frank with you. I own a copy of the Quran, and I have no real intention to read it. Eventually I will, but maybe I will. But yeah, then when I go to get in, then when I go into the building, she's walking away with some other dude. And so I'm just like, I don't want to know. I don't want to think about this, the singer. I don't want to know. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to get emotionally wrapped up in it. I don't want to get jealous. I don't want to want her attention. I don't want her to think more highly of me than anyone for any reason. I don't want it. None of it. But there is an exchange if you admire that a pretty girl is pretty and you like to listen to her talk. And so I actually put in earbuds when she sings, because I don't, stripper rules. If you look, you gotta pay. If you listen, you gotta pay, right? And so I don't want to treat her like a stripper. I want to treat her like an object. She's a human being, and I don't want to know her any deeper than that. But the attention and affection would be interesting, and they would certainly break up the fucking monotony of being alone and talking into this camera all the time. But then there's also the very real fact that it would be distracting from talking into this camera all the time, because there are other things that I want to talk about, other video series I want to do. I need to talk about football because I missed the John Gruden trial, and so you need Philaletea for the football fan, which I might even just call philosophy for the football fan and keep it easy for you. But you need that. You need it. Football fans need it, but the human being in you who doesn't like football, the human beings among you who don't like football, don't like sports, need to understand that there's a philosophy to sport too. And it's not the mindset or the manner of thinking. It's not the spirit, in other words, of football or of the football coach or of the football playing or football minded individual. I'm talking about that there's actual good philosophy there. There's good wisdom there that translates to other aspects of life. And music is the same way. So like, I never liked Incubus, but Incubus has been popping up here and again on my YouTube radio, and I've been paying attention because I got good earbuds in with good sound, and the bass is good. And so I I woke up 2 o'clock in the morning, couldn't fall back to sleep. I was ready to get up, get out of my tent, do stuff. And so I ended up watched Scott's Bass Lessons, I think is the name of the channel. I ended up watched his assistant, not Scott. I call him the Anthony CSN of bass because I can never remember his name, but he sounds and reminds me almost entirely of Anthony CSN. But he did an interview with I didn't know that Incubus had now 3 bassists. I didn't know they had issues with their bassist. I thought it was just Incubus, same dudes since high school or whatever. That's rare, but I didn't care. I only know Drive, Wish You Were Here, and Pardon Me. I didn't know they had other singles. I didn't know they had been a band for so long. I thought they were like Creed and that they had the 2 records that I was aware of and a third one that I wasn't. Or like Chevelle was like that for the first, with the red. It's called the Clencher, I think. Anyway, actually I think it's called This Kind of Thinking Would Do Us In, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Vitamin R, they had that, and Vitamin R is probably not the name of that album either. They have great album titles that I can never remember. The point is that he's cool. Their original bassist is cool, and he's very good. And apparently he was the professional heart and soul of that band. Like he's why they are the way they are, and that's neat. He was a really good 2-hour interview, and I was sad it was over. But I'm that kind of person. When a long form is over, I'm sad about it. I want to binge when I'm listening and relaxing, and especially when I'm struggling with nightmares or dreams or sleep, because that's how you fall asleep. That's how you relax, is to relax. And I don't know how anyone doesn't know that you fill your head with somebody else's words. Did your mom not sing to you? Like, did your parents just not like you? I don't know. My parents hated me, but they sang to me. My mother sang to all of us. Put all of us to sleep that way. It had nothing to do with love. It had everything to do with, that's how you put a fucking baby to sleep. And so have you just gotten so far away from what works that you just don't know anything? You put on low-level conversation that you don't really care about. And you know that everything on the internet you can come back to where you left off, right? Like, you don't have to bookmark YouTube videos. You know that, right? You've engaged here long enough that you know how it works, right? Like, are you a mechanically minded person? Do you understand? Do you experiment to learn how things work? I wonder. I don't know. I don't know you. I think you're overwhelmed by your choices. And so I think you need to watch Simply Simplicity, and you need to be reminded that the fewer options you have, the better, because choice paralysis is real. That's why you have brand loyalty, and why you don't think about the products you buy. You just buy the brand because there are too many products to think about. And so there are a lot of people who are upset with me because, like, what? Why would you even tell me to get a job? Why? So do you really think that that's supporting yourself? Do you think a job is supporting yourself? Do you think that? Having a job, you know, is prostitution, right? And you know that you understand, you who tell me to get a job, you understand that it's going to be minimum 2 weeks before I get paid, probably closer to 4 weeks before I get paid, and then probably another 4 weeks before that before I make enough money to start to save it, right? Right? Like, if what I want is $250 today, I'm not going to see that $250 for minimum 2 weeks if I had a job today. Do you not know that? How do you think jobs work? See, I think the people that say, well, just get a job, have never had a job, have never gotten a job, have never interviewed for a job, have never entered a job market like ours, as competitive and desperate as this job market is. Like, I applied for Dollar General or Dollar Tree the day I got homeless. I told you this. The day before, actually. The day before I was homeless. I told you this. I've told this story on this channel. They haven't called me back. You think they would? Do you think they would? Do you think I'd get the gig if I came in? Like, I've told you stories about how Guy, my buddy on the bus, is really fucking struggling to find work. Why? Because he has a felony. That's the only reason. No, he might obviously be a drunk, but who cares? Why does that matter? And from the standpoint of a person who has hired drunks before, you know what drunks do when they have a gig? They drink less. And if something happens to them, you know when the drinking's coming. You know, like, whatever. We're just bad at being. This is why I say that humans are doomed. If you're like this, if you're a son of man in this way, or if you're a son of woman in this way, if you say these things to other people, if you're rude, if you're impolite, if you smell bad, if you're overweight, all of these things, they just prove that you're human and that you're doomed and dooming us all. Yes, overweight is a problem. Yeah. Yeah, you overconsume. You take significantly more than your share. Significantly more. If you take enough more than your share to be fat, what you have is a food addiction. You take more than your share. So you don't get to, if you're fat, you don't get to negatively criticize alcoholics. You don't get to negatively criticize tweakers. You don't get to negatively criticize junkies. You don't get to negatively criticize me. If you're anything other than peak fitness so that you could chase down an antelope and catch it in the wild, you don't get to negatively criticize anyone. Anyone. Unless you're self-satisfied, unless you're self-sufficient in the way that you can get your own food, source your own building materials on your own land with no help, and that does mean Minecraft rules, digging up your own dirt, digging up your own stone, digging up your own iron, making all of everything by hand yourself without the help even of children that you've produced. You get to judge no one for their way of life. No one. And frankly, if you live in the United States, you technically can't do that off the grid because any land you owned isn't owned by you. It's owned by the federal government and leased to you. It's the best you can hope for is to live on leased land. You're no one. You're nothing. Stop. Become someone. Don't get a job. Have a profession. Be a professional. Don't have a home. Be a high rent person. Make homes. Provide homes. Be a provider. Don't fucking tell me how to live my life. And then, so this brings us to what I wanted to close on. And I actually wanted to talk about it 20 minutes ago, so here we go. If you're giving me advice, especially if you're asking me if I want advice, just know this. I never want your advice unsolicited. Never once. I will never want advice unsolicited. If I want, if I lack advice, if I desire advice, I'm not going to go to a human being very often. Not a living one. I'm going to go to Scripture. I'm going to go to the Bible. I'm going to go directly to God. I'm not going to go to you. I'm not going to say, "Hey, what do you think I should do here?" If I do, it's because I've done those things and I'm getting conflicting answers that I don't understand, and the results aren't what I want. And then I will say, "Hey, can I get your counsel?" And here's why. Advisors are the best paid people in the world. Do you know who the most powerful person in the world in a monarchy is? The Grand Vizier, the advisor to the king. Do you know who the second most powerful person is? The fool, the king's comedian. Do you know why? Those are the only people who can speak honestly to the king without threat of death. And do you know why they're more powerful than the king? Because the king can't speak to his council without threat of death. The king can't speak to his wife honestly without threat of death. The king can't speak honestly to his children without threat of death. The king can't speak honestly to his people without threat of death. But you know who he can speak honestly with? His confidant and his advisor. That's who. So if you're offering me advice, I'm going to tell you right now it's bad. If you're offering it to me, it's bad. And you know how I know? Because if you're offering it to me and you aren't already a professional in the advice that you're giving, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Why aren't you a professional in the advice you're giving if you're giving me advice? If you're just tossing out advice as tips, okay, then that must be how you make your money. You must spend your time thinking about this. You must know more about this than I do, so you must be rich because of it. Oh, no, you're not. You're just some chuckle fuck who also works at McDonald's. Yeah, get out of my fucking face with your fucking advice. You don't know anything. You just don't. And so you might say, well, wait a minute. You throw out life advice and life lessons all the time. You throw out advice that we don't ask for all the time. So if your advice is so good, why aren't you rich? How are you homeless? And the answer is, it's not my advice. I'm not offering you wisdom. I'm not offering you gnosis. I'm offering you science. I'm showing you where I get my information from, and I'm leaving you the breadcrumbs to go find it for yourself. That's very different than being an advisor. That's being Merlin, motherfuckers. Shaggy out. How do I do this?